All right, so the third-party support going on for Switch 2 is not stopping. A couple days ago, we had Tomb Raider 2013 come out on the Switch 2, which is running amazing, multiplayer intact and everything. Kirby Air Riders just came out today as the time I'm recording this video. 2 weeks away from Metroid, and Assassin's Creed Shadows is right around the corner. But still, even now, in the middle of November, we still got more third-party game announcements, especially during Xbox's conference that they had earlier today. A couple games were confirmed, but one that really caught my eye was Armatus, made by Counterplay Games. This is a third-person, over-the-shoulder roguelike shooter set in the demon-infested ruins of Paris. It says here that you'll be the last supernatural warrior of an ancient order, armed with powerful firearms and incredible celestial powers. Score the city in search of the last gateway to heaven, the Sunless Gate. From the gameplay and the story lore, I kind of like the idea of what's going on here. Third-person shooter with some melee combat sewed in between. Is really giving Returnal vibes, honestly, or Soros. All right, that's kind of what this looks like it's leaning into, and if they pull it off, I'm really excited to get my hands on it. Honestly, this does look pretty dope. So this is coming out in 2026 to all major platforms: PC, PS5, Xbox Series, and the Nintendo Switch 2. Multi-platform release. The developers had an interview with IGN after the announcement of this game, and they said that they felt very confident in getting all versions out at the same time, which is exactly what I want to see. So this game looked interesting, coming out 2026. Gonna keep my eye on it, but who are the developers, and can they pull off a Soros/Returnal style third-person roguelike shooter? I think they can, but let's take a look a little bit closer. Guys, if you're enjoying these videos, I really appreciate you hitting the like button, subscribing if you're new. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. But the developer behind this game, like I said earlier, was Counterplay Games. The last game that they worked on was in 2020 during the launch of the PlayStation 5, and it was called Godfall. A couple of y'all might have heard of that before. That game was like a third-person looter slasher is what they kind of coined it back in the day. That game definitely didn't review too well. It kind of landed somewhere in the mid-60s. Going back to seeing what a lot of people's complaints about it were, was its repetition and kind of overall grindiness, which I guess is kind of par for the course in these like looter-esque type of games that were kind of running rampant back in the day before, you know, we got too deep into this console generation. But one thing that was positive about this game that I heard a lot from reviewers when it first came out was the combat system for this game. They had a whole bunch of different frames that you could use to quote-unquote switch up your combat, but they all played very similarly. But the depth of the combat with the different weapon types that you were afforded in that game really lended into immersive, deeply enjoyable combat systems, which really seems to be their heavy focus this time around. So instead of 13 or 15 different frames for you to choose from, you have one main character that's jam-packed with a bunch of great abilities, different weapons, different playstyles, melee combat, all woven into this procedurally generated Returnal style type of gameplay loop, which if they were able to pull it off, if it's able to hit those kinds of same highs and just spectacle moments that Returnal hit, I think that they have a really good game on their hands here. Godfall was like a technical showpiece for the PS5 when that came out. That was one of those games that everyone wanted to show off whenever they wanted to talk about how great these next-gen graphics are going to look, and Godfall was definitely amongst those games shown off, even by PlayStation themselves. I think that game didn't do well based off of the genre it was trying to chase down, the games as a service type of model, the grindy looter shooter, hop in with your friends, play a bunch of rounds and see what you can find. Like that gameplay model, especially back then, doing it so half-heartedly wasn't really great. I think this third-person shooter, procedurally generated Returnal style would be a bit better as long as they can get a decent story tied down, which they could. That might be a weaker point of this specific title just based off of their previous games. But if they are able to have a somewhat decent and or cohesive story with really tight gameplay and combat, they should be fine. From the interview that they had with IGN, it seems like gameplay over anything is what seems to be their main focus when it comes to this title, making sure that the combat feels snappy, the animations look good, it feels satisfying, and it feels engaging and impactful. That's at least what I'm getting from the interviews that I'm seeing them have left and right after they've announced this game. Now, one last interesting thing that I've noticed in regards to this game is the publisher. Fictions is the publisher for Armatus, and looking over the other games that they are actually publishing, surprisingly enough, other than Lego Party, for example, is Beast of Reincarnation, which is also coming out in 2026, which, if you guys don't know, this is the new IP from Game Freak, the makers of Pokemon, of all people. They're not working with Nintendo, they're working with Fictions to publish this game next year in 2026, coming out to everything other than the Switch, which I think is weird. I think they should definitely bring over this game, but we'll see. So that's very interesting. Seems like Fictions has a decent eye for quality games at the very least. I think Armatus is going to be far more enjoyable than something like Godfall. Just off the gameplay that we saw alone, I'm very interested in seeing more about it. And of course, definitely I'll be picking it up on Switch too to see how that's looking and running. Hopefully they're definitely putting in their best foot forward. Hopefully they got dev kits nice and early on, so we won't have to deal with performance or visual issues. This is a brand new IP, and if they come correct, I definitely think it's something worth supporting. We'll have to wait and see for more, but so far I think it's looking pretty good. But let me know what you guys are thinking about this game. Armatus, coming from Counterplay Games, published by Fiction, same publisher as Beast of Reincarnation, coming out from Game Freak. Very interesting stuff. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. Thank you, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.